Hello, my name is Karla Chavez. I'm Honduran. I live in Cihuatepeque in Honduras in Central America. I'm a civil engineer, a cervical and thyroid cancer survivor. My experience of how I was diagnosed with cervical cancer is kind of tricky because I went to the doctor due to a thyroid cancer diagnosis. I had a total thyroidectomy and I had to be referred to an oncologist. I remember the day they told me you had thyroid cancer. It was very hard for me to comprehend because I found out after surgery. And I was not prepared to listen to words like oncologist or anything like that, or exams of all the things that they had prepared for me so I can get ready for radioactive iodine. But when I went last was with my gynecologist, and she said that she found there was bleeding that was abnormal. And she asked me if I had symptoms, and I didn't. I don't remember having symptoms of anything. I do remember that after sexual relations, I would bleed a little, but it would usually come right before I had my period. So for me, it was like, oh, my period's coming. It was not something I thought different of. I had no pain or any symptoms. And so after that, she decided to do a biopsy. When she found the biopsy, she called me, told me she wanted me to go to her office. So I asked my mom to come with me because I was scared. I was in her office and she went straight to it. Karla, you have cancer. She started explaining everything, possible treatments. I do not remember anything of what she said. I was just looking at her and she was just like, blah, blah, blah. I could not understand a word she was saying. But I think what I was thinking about was like, I'm only 35. And what does this mean? Am I gonna die, or how am I gonna pay for this? Because in Honduras everything's so expensive. So that was my experience. I do not remember what happened in that office because my mom was holding my hand and she was the one that received all the information. I was actually somewhere else in my mind. As a civil engineer, I was very busy. I was busy traveling. I love my job. I had to go through Guatemala and other cities here in Honduras working, and I knew I had to go to the doctor, but I was like, oh, come on, I'm busy. Nothing's wrong. No, I'm busy. I'm working. I don't have the time. That's in my head. I don't have the time to go to the doctor. I want to go to this place. I don't want to miss anything about the type of life I was having professionally. And I was so in love with what I do, my job. I love it. So I didn't go to the doctor, which was a big mistake. So if I were to recommend something or give a recommendation to any woman out there, go to your doctor when you have, every year, go get your pap test, HPV tested, because I went a long time without going and this just popped up out of the sudden. And it must have been brewing there, but I had no checkups. I did not know. I was diagnosed on February 2017. Today is actually the anniversary of my first appointment with a gynecologist when she told me she wanted to do a biopsy because something was not right. I was nervous, of course. I was nervous like I am right now, and it's kind of bringing up all these memories. My treatment was chemotherapy. I received 8 sessions of chemotherapy once a week, every Monday at 5 a.m., which was hard to wake up so early. And radiation, 35 radiation treatments. It actually went through very quickly. It was kind of hard on me because at the end of radiation, I was so burnt on my pelvic area, exteriorly and interiorly. So I was going through a lot of infections and urinary and tract infections. And it was kind of hard to navigate life, I think, those days. And starting to get ready for my hysterectomy, which was scheduled after my last chemotherapy. It was scheduled 45 days later. My hysterectomy was in June, close to my birthday in July. I had a full hysterectomy. My ovaries were taken out. And I already knew I couldn't have kids, knowing that I was going to start my chemotherapy and radiation treatment. Doctors explained it to me very well. But I think that was like closure. I really wanted to take everything out because I was scared of cancer coming back. But I think that day was kind of hard because it kind of made it real. It was a tough month. I started experiencing menopause and of course depression, and I really wanted to get back in action. I wanted to get back to work. So I was adamant that I needed to go back to work, which I did. But it was like a month and a half later, I developed a rectovaginal fistula. The fistula was a tear of almost 2.3 centimeters. It was a very traumatic moment. I was very mad, but it was a very traumatic moment because, I mean, I went through all that and I still had to deal with another thing. And I didn't want to get a colostomy. I didn't even know what a colostomy was at that moment, but my doctor said I needed one. And he just drew it for me and told me everything what was going on. So I got prepped for a colostomy in November of that same year. I now have a colostomy, which I call Jeepers because he's my creeper. And it's after that, I've been navigating life after cancer. It's been tough. I've been navigating through depression as well. And menopause has not been easy on me. And I also have my thyroid imbalance due to not having a thyroid. I take a lot of medications to try to get a balance in life. So that would be like my 2017 year treatment. How this affected my family and my husband and our life together, I think it brought us together. We are very close-knit family, so I have support all over, my brothers, my husband, my mom, my dad. I've not been alone with my family. They're my life. They're my support. They're my people. I found Survivor after my hysterectomy. I was looking for like-minded cases. I went through online, put cervical cancer survivor, and Survivor popped up. And I remember going through their stories, going through everything, and I'm like, I'm not alone. Because in Honduras, nobody talks about this. This is like a cancer down there. You don't talk about HPV or anything that has to do with it. So when I saw Survivor, I'm like, wow, I'm not alone. I went online, I went through their groups, I started sharing, and I was not alone. I had this whole group of marvelous and powerful and with a lot of knowledge that just gave me, yes, I want to share my story because I want no one here in Honduras to go through what I went through. So I've been given tools to do that. I attended Survivor School in 2019, which was an experience in itself. It was beautiful. I got to meet them, to share my story, to hear their stories, to have sessions with doctors to explain things that sometimes here in Honduras are not explained as well due to all the barriers and taboo barriers that exist. But it was wonderful. I love it. It's a family. It's a whole group of support, of information. So I'm very excited to have won an award with Survivor. And we have been working together with Maria and Patty with a group of Survivor Español, which is for Latin America. Latin Americans are Spanish speaking. And we share our stories there on Facebook. And we're starting up again because we had stopped a little while, but we're starting up with Café con Leche series, which we meet up every month to talk, a safe place to talk and have sessions and know how each other is. If you have any questions, we can work together. I think that being with people who have gone through what you're going through is easier to talk about your experiences because you know that it's a safe place. Survivor has a Facebook page. You have to answer short questions to be able to come in because we want it to be a safe place, and it has to be HPV and cervical cancer patients. HPV in Latin America, how do we navigate it through as women? I think I didn't know anything if I would talk about my experience about HPV. I remember I saw it in science class. It was just, when someone talks about the cold, it was not given the importance that I think it should be given to. But when I started talking about me having an HPV related cancer, everyone was like, don't talk about that. What are you doing? You're talking about sexual relationships and everything. I'm like, no, come on. We have to give it the importance it needs. And here, till this day, I think it's something that we don't like to talk about because everyone feels ashamed. It's a taboo. And when you talk something that has to do with sex into it, in Latin America, I think we're so closed and religious that affects a lot how we can participate in telling everyone or educating people about this. How would I think we could educate Latin American women about HPV? I think we should start with doctors. My first doctor told me, do you know if your husband is cheating on you? And I think that's a big mistake because HPV does not discriminate, or it doesn't have to be because someone cheated on you. We have to take that stigma out of it. And I think education is a great part, making it something that we talk about in our schools with our doctors, and not make it a taboo or not have to whisper it. Just say it out loud. HPV exists. 8 out of 10 people will have an HPV infection in their lives, and some of it rule it out, but some of us we can't, and we have other issues that come with it. My thoughts about the HPV vaccine and its availability. I was so happy to hear that in Honduras in 2016, it's available for 11 and 12-year-old girls in the public system, but you can get it privately as well. I would recommend it to everyone. If I would have had the opportunity of getting the HPV vaccine before, I would have done it. I I think that this Karla from now would have told go to your doctor, ask about the HPV vaccine. I tell my friends about it all the time. I talk to my family. I'm so happy to hear when my friends my daughter's been vaccinated. I got vaccinated. I went to the doctor and we asked for the HPV vaccine, and that's a big deal. I think that if we can educate more about it, I mean, why not? Why not get vaccinated if you know that it will prevent a cancer? So yes, I would recommend the HPV vaccine on a heartbeat. As women who are immigrants in other countries who are now living in somewhere that is not their natural home, I would recommend that they try to find information, ask around for their doctors, ask around how to navigate the system, because every country has different forms of navigating the medical system or their health care. And I think it's very important to look for doctors or be on top of their checkups. What I would recommend when you're at your doctor's office, at your gynecologist, and follow up with results, talk to your doctor, ask questions. I mean, no question is a bad question. You need to ask your questions. If you feel bad, if something hurts, if something's not right, if you're not comfortable, ask questions, because knowledge of what you're going on with your body is power. When you have follow-up tests like your biopsy test or your pap test or anything, call. Be insistent. Your health is important. Call. Like be vigilant of yourself. Be your own advocate. I feel that going to your doctor and getting your passport manually to getting the vaccine are forms of prevention for cervical cancer. Don't miss out. Just do it.
Before we end today, if you want to understand more about your HPV and Pap smear results and obtain more information regarding the HPV vaccine, visit cervicalrisk.com/es. You can follow an assessment to help you better understand your diagnosis and the medical terminology in your results. And if you want to learn more about HPV and HPV-related cancers, visit es.preventhpvcancer.org. It's an interactive website with a lot of information. You'll learn about what HPV means, what symptoms to look out for, and how to prevent it.